All right, there you go. Thank you. I got so many different mute buttons and shit. Anyway, so that's good. Y'all didn't need to hear what I said. I was cursing everybody out because BMU had to twist my arm for me to come up here tonight, and so I'm glad he didn't hear what I had to say about him and shit. So from that standpoint, the mute button was my friend. You know what I'm saying? I'm only joking. Anyway, so you see the topic for tonight. We're gonna talk about it, but welcome aboard. Let's see, get some people in here. I usually don't host flipping tables, but we're gonna drop the link early. I want somebody else to come on up and talk about this if you can. Because about the interracial dating, I have my thoughts about it, and I could just tell you right off the cuff, man. Uh, if if you are interracially dating, you have to concede some of your black card. That's just whether you black woman or black man. So other people could have other opinions, but as far as I'm concerned, you can't be blackity black if you're a woman and you're taking semen from a white man, and you can't be a blackity black man talking all that bullshit if you have a white wife. So I mean, maybe we could end the show on that because anybody tries to tell me different, they're full of shit, and they're gaslighting because there's just no way you could do it. Now, that doesn't make you a bad person, or anything like that, but it just says, you can't be having that duality and then look somebody in the face, and put a dashiki on and shit like that and think you like a ungawa black power and you ain't married to a black man or a black woman. It just sounds ridiculous to me. What is that? Cognitive dissonance? That's what that is. But you know what? I don't want to just cut the legs out from the show because some of y'all might have a different opinion. You know, as far as I'm concerned, I just think that a lot of folks, if it's a black man with a white woman in the past, it used to be some kind of come up for a black man to have a white woman who was ostracized by a whole family to marry him. But today, the black woman certainly is more looks at it more of a flex to have a white man on her shoulder than the opposite. Because of course, black women have this incessant inferiority complex. So if a white man chooses them, they're like they died and gone to heaven and shit. You know what I'm saying? So this is a good conversation that I guess we could have. Some people want to come up and talk about it, because we're flipping tables tonight. Of course, the good Lord doesn't have any governors on who you can marry, but uh, his very flawed people on the earth do from time to time. So let's talk about it. So there's the link for anybody who wants to come on up and say their little piece. I have a couple of clips that I had to go run and get. Uh, uh, just so we could play something as opposed to me talking on the issue. Of course, my wife is black and she's full FBA, and if we ever get any kind of reparations, I'm gonna play the FBA card, based on my based on my wife. Hey, here you go, the FBA card. Give me my reparations check and that kind of stuff. But I don't have any problem with people who want to be swirlers. I really don't. I could care less. I'm not sleeping with them. I can see the effects that it has on some people. I see the effects that it had on Serena Williams. All of that white man's DNA has changed her, made her crazy, right? She can't even look at a cotton plant without going crazy. Here's a woman who's made around $400 million in her career, and she's getting crazy about a cotton plant in a hotel. So what the hell's the matter with this chick? So I don't know. We got Kayla Nicole, who had her white zaddy, and since he dropped her ass for the billionaire, she hasn't been straight since. And we got a couple of clips of her doing the nasty, simulating the nasty with Chris Brown. Can't play the music, but you guys can get the, you know, the theme. Other than that, man, so here we are. So anybody who wants to come up and talk about interracial dating, let's do it. I mean, it's fine with me. And or if you're in the chat, so I know it's just a random Tuesday night, and government's heading for a shutdown, and that's going to be interesting. I have a feeling we're going to see the split between Main Street and Wall Street tomorrow when the government shuts down. But you know what? That reminds me. I have something that might be really funny to watch. I'm gonna fool around with this for a second because it'll be a great icebreaker. Holy shit! Do I have it anywhere? Wait, hold on. Yeah, bear with me. I'm looking for something. I am definitely gonna find it. Oh my god. Uh, uh, all right. Let me see if I can find this thing. I found it. All right. I'm going to share something with you guys, whoever's here, because I think this is pretty funny. Uh, I would wait, but listen, I don't see anybody coming. So maybe they think we're off tonight, BMU, but that's cool. Here we go. So I just might have fun by myself tonight. Who knows? All right. I want y'all to check this shit out. It's funny as hell. This is a parody that Trump put out about the shutdown, but he had a meeting with Jeffries and Schumer, and he did his a parody. Now, somebody had to do this for him, but it's funny as hell. Some people say it's racist. I just think it's funny.
There's no way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bull. Not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Even Latinos hate us. So we need new voters. And if we give all these illegal aliens free health care, we might be able to get them on our side so they can vote for us.
Kosher, the fact that the president...
That's just funny as hell. And I think it's funny. I think that's just funny as hell. Everybody's coming out saying, oh my God. So, and listen, I don't know. Here's the thing, man. A lot of people hate Trump, but I think Trump was one of the greatest trolls that ever lived. I think he's one of the greatest trolls that ever lived. He's funny as hell. And the whole media just hangs on every stupid word he says. And they just go crazy. And I think he just has belly laughs in Air Force One all the time because he trolls these guys and they just run with it, Anyway, so anyway, get back to this whole interracial thing, and you guys tell me what you think if y'all wanted to stay in the chat. I think, and I might be wrong, but I really think that men these days, especially black men, I don't think we look at it as a flex having a white woman or a woman of any other race anymore. We still marry black women at the highest rates. And I just think it's not a thing. But I think black women, when they get themselves a white zaddy, it's like they went to heaven and died and went to heaven. And if that relationship breaks up, they seem to never be straight again. You know what I'm saying? And it's already out there that, the white man is that almost every woman's biggest fantasy is to get a white man. And that includes black women. Maybe not all black women, but enough to make a difference. And so I think Kayla Nicole is a great case in point. It's been 5 years and she still hasn't gotten over her white zaddy, and she's still acting out. And I'm going to show you how she's acting out because of it. So, but before we get there, yeah, there you go. So before we get there, I'm going to show a couple of videos so we can use them as talking points. And one is by a biracial lady, then another one's by this guy who's a player. And then I got a few other things. I don't know how profound they are since I had to just kind of throw them together real fast. But it's something to look at and talk about. I can use them as a springboard to say whatever the hell I have to say. But again, if you marry outside of your race, you you have no voice with your race. No voice is kind of hard, but your voice is definitely diminished, right? For example, Maya Angelou, right? She can tell me shit. I don't give a shit how many poems she put out there and all of this bullshit that she talked about. She had a white husband. Stop it. How much faith should we put into somebody giving us one kind of message, and she's going home taking DNA from somebody from another race? I have problems with that. Not with her, the fact that she had a white husband, but her blowing blue smoke up our asses about how black she is. I have and the black struggle. That kind of shit. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I mean, like I said, I don't have of course, she's an icon in her own right and all that, but I just didn't take any of her blackity black shit to heart. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way it is. So I mean, even in reverse, if it was a black man doing that, I would feel the same way. You can't have be singing Ungawa Black Power and then you're not married to the person of your same race. It's just crazy. So anyway, let's see what we got that I can share for people, and anybody who wants to come up, got just show your face. And here's a Shay Sade, because she does a lot of interracial stuff, but this might not be her most profound thing. So I'm gonna share it with you. I didn't download it, so you're gonna have to wait for me to get it, and I'll just share it. All right. Now, most people know Sister Shay Sade. Let's see what she has.
Have a preference, responded first and foremost to white men, and then secondarily to men of their own race. Again, that's an important fact. All races of women have a preference, responded first and foremost to white men, and then secondarily to men of their own race. Again, that's an important fact to have, because when these black women are now coming to the conversation and being disrespected, they have to remember that these men of other races, white men by and large, know that they are wanted. They know intrinsically, many of them, that they are highly desired. The ones who are doing well, right? They know that they're highly desired. All races of women.
So that's just a short clip. And, of course, we all remember, watching Jungle Fever. And I think that a lot of white men, especially if they're halfway cool, they get Jungle Fever, and they know that they're a desperate, inferiority, incest black woman is easy prey. Oh man, this white sad, he likes me. He can't get enough of me. So, and I think a lot of black women who have white men, they act that way. I mean, it's just I see them, and of course, it's like social media exacerbates all of that stuff, right? In the real world, maybe it's just another boyfriend girlfriend thing, but the way they talk about it and the way they flex, so what they call it, the black girl effect. I can cut the guy's beard and give him a nice haircut, and it's because of my essence as a woman. I made this white man cool. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of them flex that way. I feel sorry for them, but I understand where it comes from. Because our sisters are really, really, a lot of them are really, really uncomfortable in their own skin because they're not really the beauty standard. And as far as men, black men are not really the beauty standard, but men don't look at it the same way. You got a little bit of game, you got a little bit of money, you got a little bit of this, you could pretty much finesse your way with almost any woman within a certain range, and that's the way that is. Okay. So anyway, so that was Shay talking about that. And this is the other brother who is also talking about this. Now, I've seen him as a content creator before, and he kind of reinforces the fact that if you're a black man, you might as well not try to even compete with the way white men have it. But you know what? If you can level up in your own right. And so some of you might recognize this guy. Yeah, so let me start this from the beginning and I'll share it just so we can see what I'm talking about. Now, some of you might recognize this guy because I've seen him before. I haven't seen him lately, but I've seen him around.
Not white. You see, race is an important factor in dating, and it's often you're not ugly, you're just not white. You see, race is an important factor in dating, and it's often overlooked. If you're not a white man, you have to put in a little bit more effort into your appearance, and you're overall not going to see the same success that an equally attractive white man would. That's because the world revolves around Eurocentric beauty standards, and there's a hierarchy when it comes to.
So let's stop it right there, right? You know, the question could be now, does that Eurocentric beauty standard affect men as much as it affects women? Now, this is a man talking, so men do get affected by it. This guy's relatively handsome, and he recognizes that, you know what, he has to compete harder to be with the white man. But in the grand scheme of things, the beauty standard of Eurocentric beauty standards doesn't affect the rank and file black men as much, not nearly as much as it does the black woman. That, you know, that's why they all look like transvestites, right? They all have the lace fronts. They can't stand their own hair. Now, they got all these other kind of propensities and proclivities that tell you that they're insecure with their own skin. And they have a raging colorism issue still revitalizing the black community. And it's mostly centered around black women. So, you know, I thought we would kind of get past that a little bit, but it seems like we're regressing in a lot of different ways because I've seen a whole lot more issues. So that's a question for everybody out there. You know, is this Eurocentric issue, does it bother black men more than it bothers black women? I know the answer to that already, but if y'all have a different opinion, put it in the chat. You know? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So there's these kind of things that our sisters have trouble. Let me finish letting this guy finish talking, because this is a short clip.
Race and dating. So if you're not a white man, more than likely you'll have something called niche appeal, meaning that you only appeal to certain types of women who are into your certain race due to their upbringing, due to their network, due to their influence in media, and a lot of other reasons. But though everybody has preferences, you'll start to realize the more you improve all areas of your life, you'll start to become everybody's exception. Trust me, I've heard it a million times. I don't normally like black men, but you're different. You're not.
Yeah, man, my man think he's cool. I've seen his content before, so he thinks he's a player. Anyway, so again, you know, when we're looking at you know, black men and black women, we look at the world differently. I don't think black men and men in general have the same kind of problems or similar problems. I mean, there's other problems that men have that might be greater than women, because we have to earn our keep. But our sisters, man, I just think too many of them in a bad way. Now, I talk to my daughters, and now that they're old enough, and they both are comfortable in their own skin. They wear their natural hair all the time. And my daughter told me, says, look, Dad, you know what? Most black women, she said, don't have any issue with their hair. And she says you might just be blinded by the fact that if you're on social media, all the women who propel themselves on social media, they have this look that gives them likes and views and stuff like that. But she said in the real world out there, she knows a whole bunch of black women that have no issue with their own hair. You know what I'm saying? And I said to her, okay. You know, I couldn't argue with her, right? Because she's out there. She doesn't have a big social media presence. Neither one of my daughters. They said, hey, listen, man, you know, you're just being blinded by the internet. I said, well, there's millions of women on the goddamn thing. Yeah, so, but she says, but there's still more women out there who that you interact with on a daily basis, and they don't mind taking the time to take care of their hair. Now, I found that kind of encouraging, right? Because at least they don't, their mother doesn't. I mean, their mother and them, they fool around with their hair. They spend the time to take care of their natural hair. So So maybe I could stand corrected and I learned something. So maybe even in interracial dating, we can get bad impressions upon how people behave online in social media for clicks and views. And maybe we take that and extrapolate that into the real world, and it's not as bad out there. I don't know. I think interracial dating in general is an evolutionary thing, and we all know that. And I think in the next 100 years, we wouldn't even have this conversation. You know, especially black, of course, based on the way we're going as a black subculture in the United States, you know, we're going to pretty much be just niche based on the, you know, the divorce rates and the birth rates and the abortion rates and all that kind of stuff. You know, we're going to just be losing clout anyway if we don't do something to turn that shit around, right? And again, so I'm going to say this. It seems like black men and black women hate each other, right? If you just go by social media, right? So we know that's not true. In general, we know that there's still people hooking up. But if you just go through TikTok, you would think that black women are a mortal enemy and they don't have any other choice but to get a white man or somebody else. But in the real world, that's just pretty much not true. You know, so I think we have to look at all of that. But getting back to, I can't get past the title of this thing, so I'm kind of outside of this because the title is real easy. The answer really is no, right? So, and I wouldn't mind debating anybody on that. If and it doesn't have to be a black and white thing. If you're a black person, you go with a Chinese guy, and I guess it mostly has to be black and white, right? Because we don't consider other ethnic groups our mortal enemies, quote unquote, right? But you know, I'm not the biggest person to talk about interracial dating. That's when BMU asked me to host this show. I said to him, I said, man, you know, because I don't really trip over it, but the title grabbed me a little bit because I have an answer for the title. You know, I do, and I already gave it already. So I have some more clips. I got a little Kayla Nicole thing. I think I think what happened to her is really sad based on the way she thought she made it with her white zaddy. You know, she was his puppet for 5 years. He paraded her around. He busted her down. He made her feel like she was wanted, but she was never accepted in the inner circle, you know. And that was made clear when he dumped her. And she's never gotten over it. If you ask me, she's never gotten over it. Ever since Kelsey dumped her, I've never seen her with another man. You know, in any way that she wants to publicize. She might, of course, somebody's busting it down. But, you know, OJ Duke Jackson, sometimes I like his takes and sometimes I don't. So I'm going to go ahead and play what he said about her and some of the stuff. Just a couple of minutes. You know, everybody likes O'Shea. So I'm going to play his thing and we'll go from there. And this is with Kayla Nicole. And everybody who doesn't, you know, if you don't know Kayla Nicole, she went with Travis Kelce, the tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs, the white tight end. She was a very pretty woman. Stayed with him for 5 years, hoping that she would have her zaddy. And for 5 years, she had a zaddy. And then it started coming out that, you know, he was really just carrying her a little bit. And, you know, and he couldn't take her home to mama and that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, the billionaires came in and he fell in love with whatever her name is, the white girl is Taylor Swift. And you know, and then people started comparing bodies and all that. And that's another story, right? Because Taylor Swift is a stick figure, but she's a billionaire stick figure. And it also goes to show you that a good hump in bed and a beautiful, voluptuous, sweet, nectar black woman didn't measure up to somebody he would want to marry, to wanting to marry a white stick figure who's a billionaire, right? So there you have it, you know. So just because you got a nice ass and nice sultry legs and sweet face and brown chocolate skin and, you know, and every man's fantasy and shit that would love to have you in the dark and the light and all that kind of stuff, still couldn't bag you a zaddy for life. Anyway, so let's let O'Shea Duke Jackson talk a little bit about that, as opposed to me saying. Let me go ahead and share this. I think I heard somebody come up. Hold on for a second. Yeah, right. Well, that's you. Let me go ahead and talk to you before. What's up, man? What's going on, brother? What's happening?
Okay, what's going on, old man? Not much. How's it going? I'm doing good.
All right. What you got on the topic, man, before we play this video? Can you hear me?
Wow. Oh, man. Yeah, I can hear you. You're coming in real good. My thing about it is,
go ahead. Yeah, you.
The other thing, like you said before, it's hard to be who you are around individuals.
Go ahead.
Real quick. Give me a minute.
Yeah, you got a delay, man. You might have to come back in, man. Go out and come back because he froze. Can you hear me? Antoine, go out and come back in. Yeah. What's going on, Braxton? How you doing, man? It's all right, man. You don't ever come up anymore, Braxton. What's happening, man? You bring up here, man. Let us know what you think, man. So we're waiting for Antoine to come back in to see. Hopefully the connection's a little bit better. And we see what he has to say on the topic so I can stop rattling off at the jibs. What's going on, Anissa? You should come on up and, with your bottle of wine and let us know what we're talking about. I mean, Tay-Tay. Who's Tay-Tay? You know what I'm saying? All right, listen. While we're waiting for Antoine, I keep calling him Antoine, to come back in, we'll kind of play a little bit of this O'Shea Duke Jackson just to keep things moving. And, we'll see how it goes. Hold on. Let me find it. All right.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of the Celebrity Junk. A lot of you brothers already know about the whole Kayla Nicole Travis Kelce debacle, and culturally, the conversations behind it right now on social media. A lot of the black men out there are actually throwing it in Kayla Nicole's face because Travis Kelce is marrying Taylor Swift. And the reason why they're throwing it in her face is not necessarily because she was disrespectful towards black men, but rather black women were disrespectful towards black men. And of course, you always see this whenever a black woman is out.
Well, let me correct something. I don't think black men were throwing it in her face, as much as she deserved it. But go ahead, O'Shea. I mean, if that's what you think, but I disagree with that. I just think she was her problem is of her own making.
And she's with a white man, and you will see, especially, white men that likes black women. Oh, you see, we are wanted. They start talking about that. Zaddy likes us. Go ahead, girl. Get you a white man. But at the same time, if a black man is, engaging in the same behavior, that black man is looked at as a sellout. That black man is looked at as being down bad, and all of those things, right? And so it's a disparity between how black women are treated and how black men are treated. So now it backfired, because once you go white, it's going to be right. And that's exactly what Travis Kelce did. He went white, and it was all right. Okay? It's no doubt about it. We see it. It was cracking and everything like that. He's going with Taylor Swift. And now, even though Kayla Nicole has been getting roasted up, here is also what's happening. Some people are coming out in her defense against some of this criticism.
But if I got engaged and the only thing the world seemed to care about is what my fiance's ex-girlfriend was doing, and you have Page Six and TMZ writing articles about her reactions and stalking her page, and you have my friends going over there to see what she's doing, and everybody's talking about Kayla Nicole compared to me. Baby, give her an award because she did her big one. She left an impression. It's giving Black girl magic, Black excellence. Because even though I had 9,365 ex-boyfriends and made an album for all of them, no one's checking for them. But you know who they are checking for? My fiance's ex. Yeah, give her an award.
I don't know what this young lady is talking about. This young lady is very interesting because on one end, she's saying that Kayla Nicole is getting away from oppression. That's Black girls magic. And again, it's just shifting the goalposts. And she's a good-looking young lady too. But what is she talking about? She deserves an award? I hate to say this for some of you ladies out there, but I'm just going to be real. When you talking like this is exactly why some men want to go, I don't care how fine you are, they want to get the hell away from you because it's not even worth talking to you. You don't make no sense. You're not expressing any kind of logic in the conversation. And I'm going to prove to you if Kayla Nicole deserves an award because it's been so much disrespect. How do you explain this?
Craziest thing you've done in a relationship? This is one of my, we weren't in the relationship, but this is probably one of my favorite crazy Kayla stories because I don't have that many. But I'm a Scorpio and I have that crazy in me though. You know what I mean? Like it's back there. So I was dating a guy. Okay. I was dating a guy and he dumped me through a text message. And he dumped me for this singer / actress who was famous at the time. Dumped me for her. Lied about it for months, then popped out with her. It became like this public thing, and it was like, oh my God, we love them. Another like celebrity iconic relationship. And of course, little old me, I'm devastated, I'm heartbroken. I had just moved to New York to like be with this person and move in with them. It was a whole thing. It's not who y'all think. Yeah, you guys will not be able to figure this out. Or maybe they will, who cares? It doesn't matter. So he breaks up with me, dumps me, moves on. And for Halloween that year, I dressed up as her. I dressed up as that lady for Halloween, and not only did I pictures out, they're there somewhere. They're on the internet.
Now, in this very same clip, this is,
you know, I mean, of course we know what she's talking about, and there you go. What's going on, Antoine? Can you hear me now, man?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it seems like it's a delay, man. What you got on the topic in general, man? We could finish this video. What about interracial? Is your wife Black?
Yes, she is.
Okay, I'm just checking. You know what I'm saying? I want to know. You know, we still got a delay, but we'll work through it. You know, so what do you think if you're interracially dating, right? Can you maintain a Black card?
It's hard to, because there are gonna be times when you might be the only Black person in the room, and there are gonna be some things that a lot of people who are not Black don't understand. The challenges and difficulties of being a Black man or a Black woman, some of the little micro aggressions that we have to deal with. You know, it's hard for someone like me to explain some issues to a woman that's not Black, the difficulties and challenges of being a Black man. And there's some things that a Black woman might be dealing with, and she can't explain to her partner or spouse about the difficulties and challenges of being a Black woman. I mean, you can listen to all you want and everything else, but you can't.
So let me ask it a different way. Okay, forget about whether you have to appease the person of the opposite race. What about maintaining your Black card with Black people? If you're a Black man and you got a white, nice, sultry, juicy ass white woman on your arm, or if you're a Black woman with a clunky ass white man on your arm, are you still a blackity? Can you be a blackity Black? You know what I'm saying? Can you pull the Black? Can you come to me, put a dashiki on and a kufi, and act like you down with the brothers, and you banging out a white chick as your wife?
It's hard.
Oh man, you go ahead. You break it up a little bit still, man. Go ahead.
That's gonna be a challenge. People gonna be around. You know, you can't be like this because people.
Oh man, that shit ain't
So it's
working.
a bit of a challenge for someone to
Yeah, I think we missed all of it.
I'm trying to figure out what's going on from my end right now.
Yeah, I think something's going on with the connection, man. I
Well, right
can't.
now I'm on my way. I'm on.
Well, you know what, man? You got to upgrade, man. What the hell are you working on? A Betamax or
I'm
some
on
shit?
my wife's laptop right now, so let me try logging on to something else. Give me a minute. Let me log. I'll come back on something else.
Okay, all right, man. Because I need to hear your answer on this one, and we can't really hear it. All right.
I'll be back. All right. I'll be back.
Later. Let's finish this bullshit that she's talking about.
Kayla
Go ahead,
Nicole
O'Shea.
getting dumped by a black man. Who is this black man? It's Iman Shumpert. Okay. Now, she said that she dressed up for Halloween as that person. Who is that person? That person is Tiana Taylor. She dressed up as Tiana Taylor for Halloween. So let me get this straight. For her to lose Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift is giving black girl magic, right? I got a question though. Is it black girl magic when she's trying to basically mock, Tiana Taylor for taking Iman Shumpert from her? Because Iman Shumpert did the same thing that Travis Kelce did, which was marry somebody what he felt was better. She had 2 opportunities for long-term marriage proposals, lost both of them to Iman Shumpert, a black man, and then Travis Kelce, a white man. But you're not talking about the consistency in both of these things. The consistent play in both of these situations is that I'm going to explain it to you. For those of you who don't know, the consistent play here is what? Is nobody wants Kayla Nicole because Kayla Nicole is emotionally immature. Only an immature person would do that. So, and the only reason why an immature person would do that is because they're not worth being with. So you're talking about is giving black girl magic? How? That's one of the most pettiest, silliest thing a person can do. Like, we all get dumped, or somebody might decide to get with somebody else, but hey, maybe you didn't think about why you got dumped. Was it something that you could have done? Was it something that you could have done to change things? You're not looking at that because obviously it kept.
Oh, damn. Thank you, man, Braxton. All right, man. Yeah, I was coughing. Well, listen, I was saying Kayla Nicole is down bad. And I was saying that, Iman Shumpert, maybe he's upset that he lost Kayla Nicole because Tiana Taylor destroyed him in a divorce, and he should fire his lawyer and sue him for malpractice. That's what I said. So anyway, thanks Braxton for saving me off the ledge. But I'm gonna show you how my girl Kayla Nicole is down bad. Now it's gonna be silent. I can't play the music, but it's a very, very short clip, and I think some of y'all might have seen it. So let's go ahead and show that particular clip. And I may have to play it more than once. All right, because I don't know about the music. I think the music is not, we can't play the music, but y'all can get the gist of what's going on. So this is a video of Kayla Nicole at the Chris Brown concert, and this is black female empowerment. Oh yeah, yeah. I'm marrying my zaddy. I can't get zaddy, but you know what? Why don't I go on stage and get simulated? You know what? With no shame. Her claim to fame is to have her legs up in the air with Chris Brown humping on her, and that's black girl magic, uh, female empowerment, and unbelievable. Uh, and wait, she can. You know what? I bet you White Zaddy can't wait to marry that. You know what? She's got a whole string of White Zaddies waiting for her right now, probably. Jesus Christ. Oh, man, it just doesn't stop. You know, people say, "Oh man, she's just simulating things and all of that kind of stuff." Excuse me, but I think she's down bad. She still hasn't gotten over the White Zaddy, and now she's acting out with Chris Brown, humping her with her legs up in the air. Now, you know, you know, I mean, we could all kind of wish that we were Chris Brown in that setting, but you know, there's no shame there, right? There's no shaming. Who's gonna check me, boo? That kind of shit. And I don't see anything redeeming about what she did. I just think she's still acting out best way she can. And it's a shame. I just think it's a shame. But you know what? I think that's the what you call it, the white man effect on on love lost. Zaddy left her hanging, and she hasn't gotten her bearings back yet. Poor baby, you know, poor baby. So anyway, so that's just one thing about her, and that's an example of a woman who lost her zaddy, and she still hasn't been right since. Now, hopefully, Anton will come back and you know, let me know what he thinks. I don't know, Braxton. You could always come up, man, and tell what you think about this. I know you haven't been up in a while. I do have one more video, and it's not really that profound, but it's about black men and black and white women and how they view things. You know, from an interracial kind of thing. But I'll play it in a second. Once I have it queued up. You know. Hey man, what's going on, Big Ant? You know, thanks for the $10 to the network. We appreciate it. Stop being a hypocrite, Payne. Didn't you have the ladies falling all over you too? Yeah, I wish. I had my I had my time in the sun, and then I gave it I converted it to just one lady for a lifetime. So how about that? Anyway, man, what's going on, man? You could put your 2 cents in on whether you like can you play the black card and have an interracial marriage at the same time. You know, I think like a person like Serena Williams, I don't understand what she just did recently with the cotton plant. You know, okay. I see what you're saying over here. Yeah, they still have to carry on their false narrative, a negative or deadly reality of black guys and non-black chicks. Well, like I said, I just think that the gaslighting of black men and white chicks is getting really old. It really is. I think black women have surpassed that. Anytime they get a white zaddy, they can't wait to throw that in their face. And if you look at all the so-called black women who have achieved certain things, I mean, look at all the black women wanting to vote for Kamala Harris, a fake black woman married to a white man, right? Or Brown Jackson, right? She's a Supreme Court justice, got her white zaddy. You know, a lot of women who achieve, black women who achieve anything, they can't wait to find a white man to marry. So, that's what that is. But should we be negative or should we get mad at that? I don't think so. It's just too many women in the world for us to worry about onesies and twosies that might get away. You know what I'm saying? No matter what their station is in life, I just think it's too much adjective for people to really care. But it depends on, it just depends on where your head's at. I think too many black men have scarcity mindset, or men in general. There's just so many sisters out there, so many people out there, women in general. I think women are a dime a dozen, and I think men who have trouble with that, I don't know. I don't know what to tell them, I think we got to get off of dating apps and just go out there. And I think black men should be looking for all kinds of women, as far as I'm concerned. I think, this whole notion about just marrying black women is over. I think that's over for black men. And I just think whatever black women do, they're going to do what they do anyway. They don't listen to anybody. So they're in their own world, So I think men should stop fighting it and just go ahead and find happiness and love wherever it might come. So that's what I think. I think that's where we are as a race, black subculture in America. I really believe that. So I'm blessed that I met my wife so long ago. And I don't envy none of you young guys today. I just don't. So anyhow, that's just the way that is. I pity, I have I would have two daughters. I'd rather them marry black guys, but I can't stand in judgment of that anymore. They're gonna have to kind of fend for themselves on that one, right? Anyway, so the other thing is I have that one more, and it's a lady who's a biracial woman, and she has a little short clip. And maybe there's something in there that we could talk about. Anybody wants to talk about while we're waiting for Antoine to come back? If he does. One more clip that I have for you.
I don't think it's a coincidence that you see a lot of black dad, white mom. And I honestly haven't unpacked it fully within myself and my family. But I think that for anybody who's in an interracial relationship, whichever way it goes, I think it's important to realize that if you were the white partner in that, you need to be an ally, because you're not just dating this person because they're beautiful. Obviously you're attracted to them in some way, but you have to understand that with that, and whether this is a black person or any other person of color, you have to understand with that comes maybe some baggage that person's not even aware of, but your whiteness and your privilege in the world is something that they haven't experienced. It is something that you have to be aware of, and you don't get to just live in that ignorance of your privilege anymore, because you are now dating somebody, you're now associating with somebody who doesn't live in that same privilege.
All right. So, she kind of flips the script a little bit, and I don't know if I agree with her either. I think if a person, she's looking at from the white standpoint, for example, if you take Serena Williams and her husband, I don't know much about him. He married a black woman, and when he married her, she was really black, right? She was big, black, muscular, and all that kind of stuff. And whatever, there's nobody who had more insecurities than the Williams sisters. They absolutely did. As great as they were, they really had problems with their blackness. And obviously, whatever conversation they had, I think she's the one who changed more for him, right? She's lightening her skin. She's on this Ozempic. She's all of those traits that made her look masculine and all that kind of stuff. She's trying to get rid of. And I think that the reason why she still has trauma is because what happened just recently in this hotel. right? I mean, can you imagine a woman who's worth, you know, $200, $300, $400 million, you know, getting upset because she saw a cotton plant as a decoration in a hotel and extrapolating that to something about slavery? You know, what's wrong with you? You know, what is absolutely wrong with you? You know, and you know, the fact that she has her blonde fake hair, you know, she's lightening her skin, you know, maybe it has something to do with taking white man's DNA, you know, for so many years, but it just doesn't seem normal, right? It doesn't seem like she's comfortable in her own skin, even though she's the goddamn GOAT of tennis, right? It's hard to get your head around somebody who is free, but acting like she's still a slave. You know, I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, I don't know. See, so we got this psychosis in the black community that's just kind of, it just won't go away. You know, I mean, and it's crazy. You know, if you don't if you don't tout some of the party line, if you don't act like a liberal, if you don't believe that we're oppressed, somehow you're the one on the outside looking in. And I think we need to get over that. And if we ever got over that, then the interracial issues might go away as well. Because interracially dating is kind of evolutionary, right? We don't need to be black militants or militants, you know. The fact that segregation was set up so black men and white women wouldn't get together, right? The white people didn't want black people to mix with white people, probably mostly because they didn't want black men to start busting down the white women, right? Because white men always thought they could just grab a black chick and bust her ass down and get away with it, right? So it was really the other way around. But because they understood that when you mix races or you mix men and women, no matter what the stripe, there's going to be stroking going on, right? So there you have it. Yeah, well, you know what? Well, you got a point, Anissa, in terms of, you know, I would imagine it's a matter of perspective, right? I mean, fucking Serena Williams is a world traveler. She's been everywhere. She's been socialized in the world. She's not just a girl from some podunk town that played tennis with a little pick-me shit in her hair, man. She speaks fluent French. She's been everywhere. You know, so you figure at some point as you rub against the world and the world rubs against you, that some of those fucking insecurities should go away. And she's not as bad as Michael Jackson, right? Because I don't think Serena was abused like Michael Jackson was. You know? And so, but I get your point. I do. I mean, you still have insecurities, but most of your insecurities when you're that free shouldn't, you know, shape the way you are. I mean, at least I don't think they should, right? I mean, especially us regular people don't walk around with those insecurities. You know why? Because we can't afford them. You know, I mean, shit. But like I said, I can't argue with you completely about what you're saying there. But, you know, we all have certain kind of insecurities, but it shouldn't shape your life like that. You know, I guess you saw her with that damn cotton plant in a hotel. It's just crazy. Maybe it's just a attention seeking that she always does. Like the hotel or the restaurant that she couldn't get a table in because the shit was booked and she thought it was a racial issue. It's just sit your ass down, Serena, please. You know, so that kind of stuff. I mean, how much therapy does she need to have, Anissa? Right? I mean, she's, you know, listen, I'm not arguing about that. Yeah, obviously something from her past still aches of it. She found herself a zaddy. She's got her beautiful kids. You know, she's got every goddamn thing in the world. She's a world traveler. and everything, but she's still stuck in the past. You know, she's still stuck in Compton. Oh man, I don't want to just get on Serena because yeah, there's a lot of people with insecurities, but you know, how much of that should we keep forgiving for a person who has everything? Listen, let me put it to you this way. She was rubbing against the world, and for the most part, the world accepted her. So she had a couple of bad things up in Indian Wells, and they treated her like shit up there until she broke that. In France, maybe she had some issues. She had some more issues. She had more problems with the U.S. Open than she had like in France, right? Every time she started talking French, they, oh, voulez-vous, blah, 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 blah. Listen, I just don't. Maybe I'm not forgiving, but you know, you got to be a little bit more broke for me to say, hey, man, you know what? And maybe that's just my bias because I think, you know, and I've said this before, and it's not true. It's not true, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I don't think I have any problems that $400 million wouldn't solve. That's what I think. You know, because me, just fat, nondescript motherfucker here, I don't have those issues. You know, if I had $400 million, man, I'd be the greatest goddamn man in the world. You know, so I can't give her a quarter for, you know, having so many problems. It's just crazy. Michael Jackson included. You know, I mean, stop it, man. Just stop it. There's a lot of people out there with real problems. You know, let me ask you this. Well, it's a plan. I bet you she has a house full of cotton sheets and cotton clothes. I bet you if we went through her mansion, we'll find cotton everywhere. Just because it's on a plant, you're gonna go crazy? Come on, stop. Just stop it. Unless you're gonna tell me she'd rather acrylic and artificial shit up against her skin than natural cotton. Yeah, you know what? You're just gonna play this girl card as best you can, you know. Because if you had a chance to talk to Serena, you probably tell her, man, what the hell's the matter with you? Get out of your own head. You know, get out of your own head. So yeah, I've heard the saying, but I hear you. I do. I do. But anyway, I don't know. So listen, Anissa, let me ask you a question. I mean, since you typing, so do you think, and maybe you answered this already, do you think that if you had a white, I don't know if your boyfriend is a white dude, you know, so if you have a white dude and you love him, do you think you lose your race card? Do you lose the ability to be a blackity black? Right? Does your say in the black community have the same weight if you have the opposite race as your primary lover, your husband? And for, you know, so and like I said, my answer was I don't think so. But what's your answer? And you know, but again, back on the money thing, I think that money solves, maybe it doesn't solve happiness, but it solves a lot of problems that most people have. I really do. I think most people have issues with, can they take care of themselves? You know, can they eat every night? Can they have a place to live? Are they insecure that they're going to lose everything with a hiccup, like a government shutdown that's happening tonight? There's millions of people worried about not getting a check starting tomorrow. They would all love to trade places with Serena Williams. Let which one go? You know what I'm saying? Okay, there you go. So I guess that's when you have enough. I gotta let it go. Hey, not you. Anyway, so listen, I was, you know, it's kind of funny, and I will let it go. You know, BMU asked me to do this thing, and I was just ready to kind of go to bed. And because the topic was something I didn't think about. So I was going to rattle off the jibs. I appreciate people coming up. Too bad Anton couldn't get his stuff together because, I wanted to hear his answer, because I know he's a family man. And and too bad he couldn't come through because he got like Radio Shack shit in his house, I guess. Well, he don't have access to the things that he needs to get online. Other than that, though, this is one of those short nights because I'm gonna go ahead and kind of pretty much get out of here. But again, and maybe we could broach this subject when there's more people who want to come up on a Tuesday night and talk about it. But I mean. No, where do you get this one from? Now, no, wait. Now I don't what? You don't give these many excuses to the sorry ass white men that shoot up this. What are you talking about? I mean, listen, we're talking from a black perspective, right? I mean, no, I'm just saying this has nothing to do with white people shooting up the schools and stuff like that. Let's just talk about people who fall in love and do they behave differently because they have a person of the opposite sex. It's usually black people talking blackity black shit, right? Would you be preached to by a person who's black if they have a white significant other? Right? Would you go to a meeting? Yeah, okay, no, because that's right. Okay, there you go. Yeah, so there you go. You answered the question that I wanted, but if we were going to talk about the bad shit that white people do, I have plenty of smoke for them, but this is not what this whole live was about. I don't give white people any quarter. Matter of fact, it's kind of funny that you mentioned that because you're going to trigger something in me on this one. I hate the word trigger, but I don't think there's any more dangerous people on the face of this earth than a white man. And history proves that shit, right? Because they've conquered the world a couple of times over ruthlessly, and they didn't just kill black people. They didn't have any problem killing their own people either. So, we got to be careful, but we ain't talking about that kind of show. And I'm kind of wondering what happened to those white men because the way they've given away this country to their women is crazy, right? So, hey, man, what's going on? Hey, is that you, Braxton? What's up, man? What you got to say, man? What's happening? Are you on mute? Yeah, you're on mute. You got to unmute yourself.
Yeah, yes, sir. I was on
What's
mute.
going on, man? How you doing?
Nothing much, sir. Nothing much, sir. I had myself on mute because I was trying to straighten up my phone.
Okay.
But my take, excuse me. But my own take on the topic is like I was saying a little bit down in the book chat. Now the whole narrative behind black men getting with non-black women, but in particular they'll always pinpoint it to white women first. I get that. I guess because I guess white and black is going to be the main first thing of any topic
Right.
because this is America, and for and for the past 3 to 4.5 centuries has been black, white, black. So hey, it's understandable. But when it comes to relations between black people being with non-black people, now the whole old thing about white women gets black men in trouble. I was like, so do black women, but they still rarely or barely want to ever bring that up. And when either something tragic happens between black women and white men, so whether it's something tragic or if the relationship don't work out, it's like they barely bring that up either. They barely ever say anything about it. So I was like, so I said, but yeah, y'all call yourself a sisterhood, but if one of your quote black sisters is unalived by a white boy, y'all still ain't gonna discuss that or bring that up,
No, you got a point there. I mean, but when we pinpoint these things, that kind of eaches. I think that I think that both black men and black women, we are each other's biggest, lovers and our biggest detractors. I mean, I think that black men have more relationships with black women. So when it comes to hurting them, we will. And there's no other race of women who hurt black men more than black women, right?
Yeah.
Because we're with each other, right? It's not even close, But that's because we're in proximity with each other. I think the same thing goes for white people. Right?
Right.
White men and white women have the
Well, as
same
we've
kind
been seeing, as we've been seeing for the past
Yeah.
few days about the white on white violence, has been
Yeah.
happening back to back.
That's right. So that's why I'm saying, white people have no problems hurting each other. They have no problems hurting each other. It only becomes news is when it's an interracial thing, right? But the truth of the matter is, we've seen a lot of violence right now with white folks right at the tip of the spear. So we need to stop, owning that shit that we're the most violent. So we've seen all that shit going on around the world with the ICE agents, the country, and the Charlie Kirk thing and all that kind of stuff. Man, this is all white on white.
Right. Oh, and also to bring this up, and also that tragic incident that happened on that subway with that Ukrainian girl and the black guy. Now that's a lot. Now the question I bring up is, now would people still have the same thought and energy if both of them were white, if both were black? And if you want to change up the genders, if black man had did it to a white man, a white man had did it to a black man, a white man had did it to a white man, black man to black man,
Well, let me tell you, if a black man would have stabbed a black woman like that, we probably wouldn't have seen it, right? Because we probably wouldn't have seen it, right? And if a white man stabbed a black woman that way, it would be all over the place, And if a white man stabbed a white woman there, I think we would have seen it because of the white woman,
Right.
But,
and also, what if it was two women? Two women. Her woman had did that to another woman.
I think if it was two black women, we probably wouldn't have heard about it. But if it's if the white woman is a victim, we're gonna hear about it. That's what I think about. I just think that, and if it was a black woman who was stabbed by a black man, we probably wouldn't have known it happened, because black women get hurt by, I hate to say it, by black men enough that we never hear anything about it. But if it was a white man who stabbed a black woman, this shit there would be fires and shit all around the place. It would be another George Floyd situation. So Black Lives Matter would have found a way to bilk another $100 million out of the black community. Get a couple of lesbians up there talking about Black Lives Matter and shit. Hey man, so let me say something, Antoine, to see if your shit's working.
All right, can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, man, you sound pretty good now.
Okay. All right, I was having problems. I got my buds in. I've been trying to get this bad boy working on my old phone and everything else. What's good, Braxton?
Yeah, man, we got Braxton up here, so we got to stay for a couple more minutes. I just want to ask you this question again. So if you have an interracial couple, black and white, let's just use the extremes. Does the black person in that relationship lose some of their black card?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
They do.
Okay. Why do you think so?
Because there's some things that a black man would not, or a black woman would not be able to talk about around a group of people that are not black. There are some things that they would not understand. There are some situations, micro aggressions that I mentioned earlier before I had to come off, that a lot of others will not understand, that a black man or a black woman wouldn't understand.
Well, but
and also,
go ahead. But also, what about the black people who are listening to that? Can that black person go into a black meeting and act all blackity black?
It's hard to, because
that's
are you really like this because you're around us, or is this really who you are? Because sometimes, and we've said it before, and I know we've mentioned it in other discussions before, and a lot of things that we've always had to do, we got to code switch when we're around other people that don't look like us, because for some reason if we try to be who we really are, who we truly are around them, for some reason, they feel uncomfortable. Like we're wrong for being ourselves.
Well,
So
do
we
you
have to
code switch?
code switch.
Do you actually code switch around white people? You too, Braxton. Let me ask you that. I don't code switch at all. I mean, I've been around white people, so I don't code switch at all. I kind of relish being the spook who sat by the door. You know, I might not, use all the harsh colloquialism.
Colloquialisms.
Yeah, that's right. I might use that, but I don't code switch, man. I mean, yeah, especially when I'm in these meetings with a whole bunch of white people. I a lot of times I take great pride in telling them that the conversation we're having doesn't go to the level of racism, anything, because I'm in the room. If I wasn't here, I can't imagine what you guys would be talking about.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? And I let them know that shit. So I mean, but here's the thing, but I hear your answer, and maybe you'll understand this. I think black people, in general, are more comfortable in a room full of whites than a white person will ever be in a room full of black people. That's
true.
Yeah, you had to think about
that's true.
That's right, man.
It's true, because I'll be honest, I grew up in private school. From first grade to 12th grade. You know, I grew up in private school, and there were times I was either one of the few black kids or the only black kid in class. And both my parents were from the islands, and they always told me, don't ever let them make you feel uncomfortable. You be who you are and everything else. Don't let their comfort determine who you are and how you should feel.
Exactly. I think that's a power that we don't appreciate enough. I think that's one of the things that black folks have, being socialized as black Americans in this country on any upward swing. We don't appreciate that shit enough. And I really try, because through high school, through college, through all my professional life, I've been in most of my meetings. I was the only black person there. And there was more than a couple times. My last 10 years of working for the Department of Defense, I was the chairman of one of the release boards, putting the weapons out there. Everybody in the room was white, or not black. I'm at the head of the table, telling people what to do. Colonels, all those kind of fucking things. So I'm just saying, but so I was really comfortable with all that kind of stuff. And I understood it. But I think it's a power that we have that we don't appreciate enough of. I really do. I really do. So, and that's why I have my positions that I have, and I get vilified for it a lot. But I think we have more power as black Americans. We're the most powerful black people on the face of the earth because we're Americans. And because we have Western mentality, we don't take advantage of that shit enough. There's no other race of black people who have as much as we do. And even the Africans, that's why they're all coming over here. You hear what's going on in Nigeria now? They're killing all the Christians and all that shit over there. I mean, it's crazy. So they got real big pockets of poverty. And, our poor people, black people here, they're all obese. We got the fattest ass poor people in the whole world. How does that happen? Shit. They don't got no place to live, but they got food like a motherfucker, man. Come on. They got running water and food. So that's power. But just all joking aside, even on our poverty level, black people in the poverty level, the percentage is like only like 19%, maybe less than that. White people have more people in poverty level in terms of percentages than we do.
That's true. That is so true.
So I mean, we don't. Yeah, go ahead.
And I can honestly tell you this: I remember from my time in the service. You'd be surprised the number of people that you saw, using snap cards or on WIC, at the commissary. And I've always told people, if you're going to go in single with no kids. Because if you go in single with no kids, you get if you get married at 21, 22, 23, and you're thinking, oh, well, I'm married, I make a little more money. You're not going to make as much compared to someone. You may make a little bit more compared to someone within the same rank and pay grade and everything else. But if you don't have that much time in, you're not really making that much. And if you marry with a young child, it's going to be, you're going to have your struggles, you're going to have your challenges. So that's why I always tell a lot of people, put some time in first before you get married. Put at least a good 5-6 years in. Understand how things work before, if you decide to stay in and get married.
Yeah, no, I hear that. Listen, man. So I don't know how much more we're going to talk about this particular topic. Braxton, you have any kind of final thoughts on this topic? Yeah, on anything. What else is going on, man? You haven't been up in a while, so what else is going on in life, man? You got kids now and everything, and married and all that kind of shit. No, I want to joke. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, no, sir, no. I'm not thinking about kids, no marriage right now. So I love my life the way it is, especially being the way things are now.
Okay.
In this country, I said, yeah, I have to hold off on that, or not do it at all, and I'm fine with either one. But and plus I like my privacy and self time. So I love the single life, childless life, but I love it. Yeah, and no offense to y'all, if though y'all married or dating or whatever, but all that stuff is
I'm a lost cause.
I'm married also. I just celebrated 16 years last month.
16 years?
Oh,
yeah,
16.
I'm a lost cause, man. My wife is there. Let me ask you a question though, but I mean, I don't want to step on your final thought. What about the shutdown that's looming? Is that going to impact you guys at all? How about you? Are you still attached to the military, Antoine?
No, I've been out since 2006. I've been at my job. I've been gainfully employed at my job now for as of right now 28 years. So I'm good.
All right. Hey, man, did you see Pete Hexef's presentation?
I saw some of it. I remember someone posted it on Instagram, and I think it was posted somewhere else.
Reaction video to it on my channel, Marriage, Politics, and Sports. I thought it was one of the greatest speeches I've heard in years. That's a whole nother thing. I haven't
heard the whole thing. Sorry, I haven't heard the whole thing, but I know for a fact you got some generals.
Yeah,
but I know you got some generals and admirals are like, yo, we came for this nonsense. But not nonsense, but that's what they said. But I gotta listen to the speech in its entirety. I gotta listen to it from beginning to end.
Well, go to my channel, see my reaction to it, man.
Okay, I'll check it out later.
Yeah, Marriage Policy, what my channel thing. If you ever been over there, I did it. I just did it a couple of hours ago. Catellia stopped by for a second. I thought it was one of the greatest speeches I've heard in a long time. I worked for the Department of Defense for 38 years. So what he's saying is all the shit I believe, man, how our fighting force needs to be in the kind of shape that he's talking about. And I did stop it when he talked about fat people, fat generals. How many, he had all those generals there. Probably 1/3 or 1/4 of those fucking guys is fat as hell, right? He was talking. I said, man, they must be all kind of churning in their seat, man. I can't imagine these guys, but I think he's right.
I remember watching a video, it was a documentary on the Pentagon.
Yeah.
And when they built it, they said they intentionally made sure not to put elevators in the building because they didn't want no fat generals and admirals walking around the building. And the building actually is only 5 stories high.
Right.
I don't think there are any elevators in there, but there are a lot of ramps and everything else. So there's a lot of walking and running around going to that place.
He said some great shit in there, but I could see how people, especially if you're liberal, that people will have problems with it. But as far as I'm concerned, it was a thing of beauty. I didn't know he could speak that way. He spoke for 45 minutes with just a sip of coffee, and and he was fluid as hell. I said, man, this guy is pretty goddamn cool. But he was a TV guy, so I could think,
Was this like a General Patton moment or something?
No, I just think that he was just talking about how he's reshaping the whole Department of War now, right? And I don't think I can't convince you. I mean, it was just me. I thought this shit was, I thought it was fantastic. As a matter of fact, I didn't stop it but a couple of times. It's 45 minutes, So, but man, and maybe you might, if you ever heard it, you don't have to listen to my thing, but you might think I was crazy. I said, man, this shit is awesome. I'm over here. I gotta say, man, I got a little moisty eyed at the end and shit. I said, this shit is great. I said, man, god damn. I never, I'm not a Pete. I don't even know this guy from Adam until he got there. And everybody hates his guts because they hate Trump. But still, man, anyway, that's just
he
me.
had his moments when he was in. Let's just say he had his moments when he was in. That's the best way I can put it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, man, he was bad, but he cheated on his wife. He did it. He did this. He did that. Somebody said that. I said, you know what, man? There's no prerequisite to being a saint to be a warfighter. Ain't no prayer there. I don't give a shit, man. You don't have to be a saint to be a warfighter. We got to stop putting men and women on pedestals. Can you do the job? I mean, if you're a murderer, that's one thing. But if the woman seduced his ass and he fell prey to it. Shit. I mean, if she was a good-looking woman, what the fuck they put a woman as his chaperone for in the first place? And the fact that he needed a chaperone tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah, I heard he was a wild boy. I heard he was a wild boy when he was in. That's the best way I can put it.
The fact that you need a chaperone tells you everything you need to know. But
yeah,
anyway,
what were you doing in uniform?
That's some funny shit. Anyway, guys, listen, man. So I just was like filling in, man. BMU said, "Oh, can you cover for me?" I said, "Oh man, no, I want to go to bed." But I appreciate y'all guys coming up. I think the topic is something that we don't touch that much. Interracial dating is a part of it, but I think like you said, you use your race card or the ability to tell anybody about being black. Like, for example, Maya Angelou. I don't give a shit all the black shit she talked about, but she married a white man. To me, that just diminished anything she had to say about race. And I'm just using her as an example. If it was a black man who married a white woman, same thing. Don't be coming out here with your hands balled in a fist, black men this, black that. I mean, if you're going to be, there's no other more intimate person in your life than your spouse. So I can't separate it. I saw a black woman say, listen, I don't lose I got a white husband, but I'm as black as anybody else. In your mind, you are. In your mind, maybe you are, but not in practice, because you can't stop other people from thinking what they want to think about you, no matter how much you protest. Anyway, gentlemen, any last words for you, Antoine, or any more last words, Braxton? Because my last word is, I've been talking too much, right?
Oh, all right. Well, I'll go ahead and go since I was already talking. Yeah, and also whenever you do this topic, again, I'll try to come up on the panel again.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
Yeah, sure, sir. Yeah, but anyways, but as for the topic and other stuff, now for me personally, in the past, it wouldn't have mattered who I dated because throughout my life, if you can even hear it in my voice by the way I talk, I've been seen as either a white boy want to be white, trying to be white, and you're this, and you're that. Yeah, but I've even been called a disgrace to black people just for the way I talk, not who I dated, just for the way I speak.
Oh,
and yeah, for the way I speak and act and think. And also throughout most of my life, when I got old, when I got older, I was called both gay and the word that rhymes with maggot. I haven't even been called that throughout my life.
Oh man!
So yeah, I have, but look, it's also messed up for people who are, I won't say who are not the other word, but for people who are gay and bi is messed up because for the record, I got gay friends and family members who I love and care about dearly. So so I'm not for any of that, and plus I wasn't raised like that. But I've been called pretty much everything in the book just off of how I talk, not necessarily for who I date. But if I did date, somebody who wasn't black, especially if they were white, you can only imagine You know, but
Yeah.
hey, you know, but as for me, so I took it and tried to internalize it. I was like, I really don't care. So hey, so I say, when people hate you, they're just gonna hate you.
Well, this is true. Yeah, you can't force people to do anything other than what they're going to do. Anything for you, Antoine? You know, now that
Yeah,
you,
my final. Yeah, I wish I would have came on a little bit sooner. I finally got this thing working.
that's okay.
My
Okay.
my final thought about it is just always be mindful when you're dating someone outside your race. There are going to be things that they're never going to understand or have an understanding of some of the difficulty challenges you have to deal with. Now, like Braxton, I can relate. You know, I people made fun of me because of how I spoke and everything. Oh, you speak too proper, or you think you're bourgeois because you think you're better than us. Nah, both my parents were from the islands,
Mhm.
so talking like around my friend, the way I talk around my friends, my parents were not going to tolerate that. And plus, also the fact that English is not my parents' first language, I had to make sure that if I was going to speak around them, I was going to speak proper grammar. To this day, I still speak proper grammar to my parents and everything else. That's just how it is. That's just a habit. And there's still some things my parents still are going to not understand and grasp within the English language. And they're still going to
Okay.
call me up and ask them, and I'm still going to break it down and explain it to them. That's
What
just how it
language do
is.
they speak? What language do your parents speak?
My parents speak French and Creole.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, cool. So from Haiti.
hmm
Okay. All right.
So I'm like just like Braxton. I've dealt with a lot of those issues, growing up. I dealt with a lot of those nonsense even when I was in college. I got friend zoned a lot. I mean, there are times I wanted to start dating, and I'll be honest, there was some black women that gave me the time of day because they thought I was corny. All right, cool, whatever. I joined the army and everything else. I'm working as well. Now all of a sudden, those same ones that thought I was corny, now all of a sudden want to give me a shout. You didn't have a chance. You had a chance to be with
It's
me
like Mike
before
Jones
I did all
back
this
then.
stuff.
They didn't want you. Now they're out there all on you.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, but
And it
baby
sucks.
face.
And it sucks that you didn't even try to give me a chance back then. But you know what? That's on you. So I'm not going to sit there and say, "Oh, I was self-hating," or "I'll never date black
Right.
women." Yeah, I dated
Right.
white women. I'll be honest. Yeah, I dated white women. I've dated Hispanic women. I've dated women of other backgrounds and everything else. But at the end of the day, I found my
Yeah.
wife at my job.
Yeah.
We've been
It's
together for
cool.
20 years. 16 of them married. So
That's
I'm
good.
good.
That's
I'm
good.
good. So
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
so my thing is be true to yourself. Be
Yeah.
true to yourself and everything else, and understand. I'm not saying don't date anyone outside your race. Just
Mm-hmm.
understand it's going to be difficult, and you're going to deal with challenges, and your partner or future spouse are going to deal with some challenges as well. And there going to be some things that the person you're with, he or she may not be able to help you with. And if you're okay with that, so
Right.
be it.
Well, it's kind of funny, man, because I don't think nowadays I don't think it's anything harder than probably dating a black woman.
Right.
For some of these guys out there, the way they behave in general, a lot of black women behave not all, but enough to make a difference. Now, again, I talked about maybe that's just a blind spot when you look at social media. The way they behave on social media might be blinding people from how the real world might be. But if social media is indicative of how black women may behave, I don't think it couldn't be anything more difficult than trying to cleave to one of those chicks. So I mean, I'm starting to see pockets of sisters come out to seem more rational, but the whole thing about the angry black woman and all that shit, that's just real. And then there's a negative side to black girl magic because it excludes black men. So I like I said, I don't have any problem for a black man, uh, who wants love and wants submission and obedience and cooperation. If he can't find it in a black woman, you should just find it wherever he could find it. That's what I believe.
That's
And
what
I
they're
got
doing
black
now.
daughters. I talk to my daughters about this shit too. I said, listen, you got to be kind of like your mom. She's not a pushover and none of that stuff, but she understands, I guess, the assignment just like I do. You know, there are roles that you got to be willing to play, and I'm not talking about cooking, cleaning, right? I'm not talking about that's just a euphemism. You know, there's a role for a marriage between men and women. You know, and I think women have broken their pledge to that. I don't think men have. I don't think we've changed as much as women have, and they want us to conform to the way new women are, and that's against our nature. You know, a man's nature is his nature. We cannot marry women on their terms. I think that's a absolute no, right? And it'll manifest itself in ways that a lot of men don't understand. Some things you just can't bend on. So, well, that's just me. That's my final words. So, hey, gentlemen, I appreciate it. And Nissa, thanks for showing up. Lick was here for a second. You know, so hey, gentlemen, I think Wednesday is the sports show.
It is.
And Friday, of course, is it was nobody was here for the barber shop. Maybe we make sure that somebody's here. Then Monday is my show at 7:00. I have no idea what I'm gonna talk about. So I always figure it out by Friday. You know, we talked about, if you want to go back yesterday, we talked about body count, of course, right? When does it matter? When it doesn't matter? And it's the 304's kryptonite, you know. So we had a good conversation because I had a lot of different clips, and then we elevated the conversation against from, hey, instead of just, do you actually really ask that question? You know, and if you do ask it, are you really being a chump, you know, by asking that question? And does it really matter? Because in the West, we've already decided that we're not marrying virgins. You know, if you got married, you know, I got married in 1987. I wasn't expecting to marry a virgin. That was way back then. You know, so I think we don't take enough credit for that. I think men don't really care about a woman having sex before. They just don't want you to be a whore.
I think what it is, the best way I describe it is, I have nothing wrong with people having a right to know. I have issues with people who feel like they have a right to know everything. And there are some things are best left unsaid. You know, like let's sleep the dogs lie.
Yeah.
That's the best way to describe it.
We talked about that too. Yeah. I agree with you. We said that too. Yeah, some things you just don't want to know. I don't want that shit swimming around my head.
Exactly.
As long as you ain't
let it be.
Yeah, as long as you ain't moving like that when we're together. So anyway, gentlemen, I appreciate it. We'll talk again. Thanks for coming up. Let's go. I don't know. He took off the music, so it's just going to end abruptly. I would click on end stream. It's going to go poof.
I'm trying to get out to the sports show on the sports show. Mr. Bennett gave me an open invitation to get out to the sports show.
Is that 8 o'clock? I think it's 8 o'clock.
It's usually 8 o'clock. It's 8 o'clock, but most of the time I'm at work at that time.
Okay.
And he gave me an open invite because he knows I'm a hockey fan, and I teased him and everyone else on the panel about them not talking about hockey. And so he was like, listen. So he was like,
goddamn
hockey. I teased him about that. I always tease them. I always do. Because they always talk basketball and they're like, okay, what about hockey? So I teased him on it. So he was like, listen, open invite, make yourself available if you can. Come on, do a season preview. You know, give us what's going on for the upcoming season. And you know, I could try to do it tomorrow, but I'm at work.
Yeah.
Next week I might be able to do it, but I know that's when the season starts.
Yeah,
but even
just make
still,
sure you have a nice little 2-minute clip, so you know you have to tell you about that. Ain't nobody listening to your damn hockey, man.
So if he's listening and if BMU are listening in the background, just let me know, and I'll try to make an adjustment to my schedule to try to come on and do it on the sports show. Just I think BMU has an email address, so he can try to hit me up, and I'll see what I can do from there.
All right, gentlemen, take it easy, man.
All right, be safe, guys.
All right, later. All right, folks, that's another night in the books. Everybody, take it easy. Thanks for the panel discussion, the chat, and all that kind of good stuff. Later.